Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving headfirst into a topic that, well, it touches us all, often in surprisingly profound ways. The fascinating world of perfume.
Absolutely. And we've got quite a bit of source material here. Our goal really is to pull out the key insights, looking at its, deep history, how these complex scents are actually put together, and maybe tackle that fundamental question of why. Why are we humans so drawn to fragrance?
It feels incredibly personal, doesn't it? Almost like finding an invisible signature for yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe you remember like an early scent that just clicked, maybe something bright and citrusy or softly floral. Our sources definitely highlight this personal connection. It's a core part of the whole story, and it stretches back, way back.
It really does. Long before malls and brand names, people were engaging with scent. It was spiritual, practical, deeply cultural.
So let's start right there then, journeying back to the fragrant roots of perfume.
Okay, well, the word perfume itself, this is a direct clue, it comes from Latin. Perfumum.
Through smoke. That's what our sources said it literally means.
Exactly. Think about it. Early humans burning things like fragrant woods, spices, resins. They believed the smoke carried prayers, maybe offerings, up to the heavens,
Connecting the earthly to the spiritual makes sense.
And one of the earliest cultures to really, really embrace perfume was ancient Egypt.
Right. They didn't just use it in, religious ceremonies. It was part of everyday life, too. We found mentions of Cleopatra being famously linked with scent.
Oh, definitely. And a particularly striking detail is their use of perfumed oils and resins in mummification.
For preservation, but also something more.
Yeah, it wasn't just about preserving the body. It was about giving it a pleasant smell for the afterlife. Kind of profound, really.
Wow. Okay, so from Egypt, the art spreads and changes.
It does. The Greeks and Romans, they refined the processes quite a bit, and they used perfume much more widely on their skin, clothes, furniture.
Even their pets, I read.
Apparently so. But the big scientific leap, that really came later in Persia. Our sources point to their invention of distillation.
Distillation. Okay, we think of that for alcohol or purifying water. How did it change perfume making?
Well, what's fascinating is how they adapted it. They figured out how to use it to extract the volatile oils from plants. So instead of just pressing or burning.
They capture the pure scent.
Exactly. By heating the plant material, capturing the vapor, and then condensing it back, it allowed them to collect the pure fragrant compounds. And that method, it's still absolutely fundamental today.
So a technique from ancient Persia is basically in almost every modern bottle we see now. That's amazing.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, so fast forward a bit. By the time perfume gets big in Europe, say the Middle Ages, it takes on another role, right? Status.
Oh, absolutely. It became a huge symbol of status and wealth, especially among royalty and the nobility.
And let's be honest, hygiene wasn't quite what it is today back then.
Exactly. To be frank, bathing wasn't a regular thing for many. So perfume also served a very, very practical purpose, masking less pleasant odors. Our sources definitely hint at that sort of royal cover-up idea.
Right. Okay, so let's shift gears from the why people used it historically to the how it's made today, the science bit. What are we actually smelling?
Okay. At its core, modern perfume is about essential oils and aromatic compounds. These are the molecules that actually carry the scent.
And they come from plants, flowers, fruits, but historically also animal sources, yeah? Like musk from deer or ambergris from whale?
Correct, that's the history. But a really important point from the sources now is that modern perfumery relies overwhelmingly on synthetic versions.
Ah, lab created.
Yes, we can create these scent molecules chemically. It gives consistency, control, and crucially, it means no animals are involved in getting those classic animalic scents anymore.
That feels like a really significant shift. Okay, and these ingredients, they're not just mixed together randomly, are they? There's this structure, the fragrance pyramid.
Exactly right. Think of it like the architecture of the scent. It unfolds over time because different molecules evaporate at different speeds. So first up, you get the top notes.
These are the ones you smell right away, usually bright, fresh, maybe citrusy or minty. Our sources called them small, volatile molecules.
Precisely. They make that first impression, that initial hit, but they fade relatively quickly. Lemon zest, mint, that kind of thing. Then, as those start to dissipate, the middle notes emerge.
The heart notes.
Yes, often called the heart. These are generally larger molecules than the top notes, so they last longer. This is where you typically find the main character of the perfume florals, like rose or jasmine, maybe spices like cinnamon.
Okay, makes sense. They form the core identity.
And finally, anchoring everything are the base notes.
These are the ones that really linger, right? For hours sometimes.
Exactly. They're the heaviest molecules in the mix. They give the perfume depth, richness, and they actually help the middle notes last longer too, sort of fixing them. Think vanilla, sandalwood, or those synthetic musks we mentioned earlier.
It really is like music for your nose, isn't it? With different notes playing out over time.
That's a great analogy, actually.
And perfume itself. It isn't just the liquid you spray from a bottle, is it?
No, not at all. The same principles of composition, top, middle, base notes, apply to things like solid perfumes, perfume oils, body mists, even, really high-quality scented candles. The structure is key.
Gotcha. And the reason these smells can feel so evocative, sometimes almost transporting, that gets into brain science, yeah.
Absolutely. Our olfactory system, that's our sense of smell, has this unique and very direct connection to the limbic system in the brain.
And the limbic system is emotion and memory.
That's the one. It's the area deeply involved in emotion and memory formation. Unlike other senses, smell information doesn't get filtered quite as much through our rational brain first.
So it hits us more directly, emotionally.
Pretty much. It bypasses some of that higher cognitive processing. That's why a particular scent can instantly trigger a really strong memory or a feeling like, bang, you smell warm cookies and you're right back in your grandma's kitchen.
Ah, that makes so much sense why certain smells just floor us sometimes.
It's fascinating how specific and how deeply those scent memories can be embedded.
Now, this whole story, it's not just a Western thing, is it? Perfume is truly global.
Oh, definitely not just Western.
Yeah.
It's a global phenomenon with incredibly rich traditions all over. If we take a quick sort of virtual world tour, in India, for instance, they have a tradition going back centuries of making attars.
Attars, right. Those are often made from natural ingredients like rose and sandalwood using really traditional methods.
Exactly. Often steam distilled into a sandalwood oil base. Very natural, very concentrated. And then if you shift over to the Middle East, oud is hugely significant culturally.
Oud. That comes from agarwood, I think. It's known for being really deep and woody, almost resinous.
Yes, exactly. It's formed when a specific type of tree gets infected with a mold, bizarrely enough. The resulting resin is incredibly complex, deep, woody, often described as luxurious, hugely popular there.
And then, of course, there's France. You can't really talk perfume without mentioning France.
No, you can't. France, particularly the Grasse region, became this major hub for the modern perfume industry. Our sources definitely call Grasse the perfume capital of the world.
Because of the climate, right. Ideal for growing all those important flowers, jasmine, roses.
Precisely. It provided the raw materials, the expertise developed, and that really laid the foundation for the big global perfume houses we know today. Chanel, Dior, Gucci, they all built on that French tradition and expertise.
But it's not just the big names now. There's this whole world of niche perfumes, too.
Ah, yes, niche perfumery. That's really exploded in recent years.
These are the more unique ones, often handmade, maybe using unusual ingredients, kind of like indie music versus pop.
That's a good way to think about it. They're definitely more artistic, often created by smaller houses or individual perfumers. They're less focused on mass appeal and more on creating a really distinctive, sometimes even challenging scent experience.
So not necessarily for everyone, but pushing boundaries.
Right. It just shows the sheer diversity out there. There really is something for every nose, every personality.
Okay, this is fascinating. Let's maybe hit some of those quick, surprising facts from the sources. Little nuggets about perfume.
Yeah, let's do some rapid fire. How about the most expensive perfume ever?
Oh yeah, I saw that. Shumuk. Made in Dubai.
That's the one. Costing over $1 million for the bottle and presentation. Talk about luxury.
Wow. Okay, here's one I find really interesting. You know how sometimes you put on perfume and after a bit you can't smell it yourself anymore?
Olfactory fatigue.
That's it. Our sources say it's a real thing. Your nose just gets used to it, tunes it out after about, 30 minutes?
Yeah, roughly. Which is why you should never keep respraying just because you can't smell it anymore. Others probably still can.
Good point. And then there are perfumes designed to smell like really weird things.
Oh yeah, not just flowers or spices. Think like the smell of an old bookstore, or fresh rain on pavement, or even the smell of money. People get creative.
Money? Seriously?
Yeah.
That's wild. And bringing it back to history for a sec, Cleopatra again, that story about her scenting the sails of her ship?
Right. So people could literally smell her arrival before they saw her boat. Talk about making a grand entrance.
Incredible. What else?
Well, just reinforcing that deep human connection in some cultures. Perfume isn't just about smelling nice. it's tied into spiritual practices or even believed to have certain healing properties.
It really drives home that point, doesn't it? Scent is so much more than just pleasant. It's history, it's culture, it's deeply wired into us.
So if we bring all this together, the history, the science, these global traditions, how does someone listening, how do you navigate this massive, fragrant world when trying to choose a perfume? One that feels right for you.
Yeah, good question. Our sources did offer some practical tips. A really key one is always test it on your skin, not just on one of those paper blotters.
Why is that so important?
Well, your own body chemistry is unique, right? Your skin's pH, its temperature, the oils, they all interact with the perfume molecules. It can actually change how the perfume smells compared to how it smells in the bottle or just on paper.
So it becomes personalized, literally on your skin. Makes sense.
Exactly. That interaction is crucial for finding your scent. And another tip, if you're trying several different perfumes, like at a counter, have some coffee beans nearby. Our sources mention smelling them between testing different scents. It apparently helps reset your olfactory palate, clears your nose so the smells don't all blend together.
Like a palate cleanser, but for your nose. I've heard that one. Good tip.
And maybe the most important piece of advice, really, that came through is there's no single right perfume for everyone.
Right. It's subjective.
Totally. It's about finding one that makes you feel good, one that resonates with you, feels authentic. It's like we said at the start, it's your invisible signature.
Absolutely. And part of that testing on skin is letting it dry down, right? Letting that whole fragrance pyramid unfold over time. See how those base notes sit with you after an hour or two.
Yeah, don't just judge by the first sniff. Give it time.
Good advice.
Well, this has been quite the journey, hasn't it? That really wraps up our deep dive into this fascinating, ancient, and incredibly personal world of perfume.
It really has. From, the earliest uses of smoke, carrying prayers, all the way to the complex science of molecular composition today.
Yeah.
And seeing all those different global traditions. It's clear perfume is so much more than just a cosmetic.
It's history, chemistry, culture, emotion, all bottled up, kind of. It really is your unique, invisible signature in the world.
So maybe a final thought for you as you go about your day and notice scents around you after listening to this.
Yeah.
Just consider, what's your favorite scent? It doesn't have to be a fancy perfume. Maybe it's a flower, cut grass, old books, whatever. What is it? And maybe ponder why that particular smell resonates so strongly with you personally. What's your signature?